ANZAC Day started with the 2016 Grand Final rematch between the Western Bulldogs and the Sydney Swans. The Bulldogs had some all-time greats lead the boys out with the Guard of Honour to start the game, and it looked like it really did the Bulldogs a world of good, starting the game really well, kicking 3 of the first 4 goals of the contest. But then Sydney brought the physicality in the second quarter, and the game really turned from there. Charlie Curnow led the way for the Swans, kicking 7 goals too from 15 disposals in a really big game which he has yet to have for the Swans this season. Chad Warner, in the absence of Isaac Heaney, contributed with 20 disposals and 3 goals 3. Joel Amartey also kicking 3 goals of his own, while Brodie Grundy took use of the opportunity of Tim English being out of the lineup, kicking 2 goals and having 35 hitouts from his absence. Aaron Norton left the game with a horrifying injury. It looked horrible live. Everyone thought the worst for him, but he's okay. Melbourne and Richmond. It was a beautiful pre-game ceremony for the D's and the Tigers game on Friday night, paying tribute to the Anzacs with the last post and a beautiful scene around the MCG. It was the Richmond Tigers, though, who started the first quarter looking like a team that was hungry to prove that they could perform on the big stage. Dion Prestia had 11 disposals in the first quarter, and the Tigers put him on early. But young gun Kayla Windsor and a few of Melbourne's veterans really took this game away from the Tigers. Brody Myercheck turned it on late, kicking 3 goals, but Kozzy Pickett was best on ground with a 4-goal performance from his 29 disposals. Bailey Fritsch continued his good form in 2026, having 2 goals from 15 disposals, in a massive win for the D's as they move to 5-2 for the season. Now we go to Hawthorn and Gold Coast up in Tasmania, where the Hawks picked up a massive 49-point win. The Gold Coast Suns welcomed Jamara Ugle-Hagan in for his club debut in his first game since an elimination final with the Western Bulldogs over 2 years ago. He kicked the goal, and which was a great moment for the Suns, but it was Jack Gunston and his Hawks that took this game away from the Suns. The Suns just were sloppy. They couldn't lay a tackle. They broke the record for this season's most missed tackles. I think they had over 20-something, which is ridiculous when you think about it. When a side that's meant to be top 4, it's a pathetic performance from the Suns and one that they're going to want to forget. And for the Hawks, they surge on. They've been great this year, and they're looking like they're going to solidify a top 4 spot after a massive win to get their percentage boost up as well. Now we go towards the big game that everyone's looking forward to, Collingwood and Essendon at the G. And this game had a lot of good moments. Archer Day Wicks taking a massive hanger and kicking a really lovely goal, and the Bombers looked like they were up to the contest early in the first half. It was a pretty low-scoring affair, and it looked like they might be able to cause an upset over the Pies. But it was an onslaught to start the second half, with the Pies kicking 15 goals in the second half to pick up a massive win. Scott Pendlebury playing the game of his life, breaking his own disposals record. He had 43 disposals. Guys, he's 38 years of age. What is going on? How are we in 2026 and Scott Pendlebury is still getting better? This man was phenomenal. He kicked 2 goals from his 43 disposals, and he became the first man to pick up 4 Anzac Day medals as he was awarded Best on Ground for his performance in the game. And it just goes to show the leader and the player that Scott Pendlebury is, as he closes in on Brent Harvey's all-time games record. Pendlebury continues to amaze footy fans everywhere, and he is arguably one of the best players of all time, so congratulations to him on his 4th Anzac Day medal. We now move to Port Adelaide versus Geelong down in Adelaide Oval, and it was a horrible start for the Cats. losing Mark Blixarves early into the contest. With what seems to be some sort of knee injury, Zach Butters tried to lay a smother. Blixarves gets a kick out, and he's hurt the inside of his knee. Jeremy Cameron tried to get the Cats going early with a really beautiful drop punt from 45. Very similar to the goal he kicked in the quarterfinal final here a few years back. But after that, it was Port Adelaide's ruckman that really got the game going for them. Vincentini and Jordan Sweet really took the game by the scruff of the neck, with the young Cats ruck, Mitch Edwards, being a bit inexperienced. It was the Powers veterans that got them going. Zach Butters being able to break O'Sheen Mullen's tag. Horn Francis back to his great form, 34 disposals and a goal. And Mitch Georgiades, who probably should have ended up kicking 8 to 10 goals, kicked 4 goals, 6, had his opponent beat pretty much all game, and a great win for the Power. Now we go to the final game of Saturday, and we have Fremantle picking up the win against Carlton in a game that was a lot closer than what people expected. They expected the Blues to kind of just lay down and take the beating after half-time, but they really fought in the fourth quarter to bring it back, and only a 14-point win for the Dockers in the end. Shai Bolton continuing his amazing form, having 33 disposals and 2 goals too. Corey Wagner played well. The typical guys for Fremantle contributing, your Brayshaws, your Sarongs, Murphy Reid, but it's their forward line that's looking dangerous. It's Josh Tracy, Jai Amos combining for 6 goals. Mason Cox getting a game with Sean Darcy out with injury, kicking a goal, and really showing the versatility that the Fremantle list has this year, and Luke Jackson having support, being able to play number 1 ruck, but having those guys that can come in and pinch hit while he's on the bench, and they're looking like a real contender this year, the Fremantle Dockers. So look out for them in 2026, because they're the real deal this year, and I think they're going to go far in September. Sunday brought us St Kilda and West Coast at Marvel Stadium, and it was a pretty bad contest early on. A lot of inaccuracy, a lot of skill errors, but it was St Kilda that could put it on the scoreboard when West Coast couldn't. Liam Ryan kicking a goal early on against his old team, Jack Higgins kicking 5 goals, and a disappointing performance from the Eagles. I mean, time and time again, they continue saying, we're going to get better, we're going to be doing this and that, but it's the same insipid performances. I mean, how are you losing by 100 points? Like, the effort is shocking, and the Saints took full advantage of it. Darcy Wilson and Brad Hill both having 25 plus. Wayne Miller, 34 touches. Hugo Garcia playing one of his better games for the footy club. And it was a classy performance from the Saints in the end, which gives them a much needed percentage boost as they fight for a wild card or top 6 position, sitting 12th on the ladder after this massive victory. And now we move over to the Gabba, where we have the Brisbane Lions picking up a win against the Adelaide Crows. And the Crows welcome back their captain, Jordan Dawson, after a really tough week. And they really got around him in this game, kicking a lovely goal, and the whole stadium showed a lot of respect, which was really nice to see. But it was the Lions that flexed their muscles in the end. Charlie Cameron kicking 4 goals against his former side, having 15 disposals and 5 tackles. Zach Bailey contributed with 29 disposals and 3 goals against a team that's really chasing to get his signature in this off-season. The Crows have been rumoured to be offering a huge contract to Zach Bailey, so what better of an audition for Zach Bailey to have than to kick 3 goals and 29 touches against the team that wants to pay you. Connor McKenna was welcomed back with 2 goals. Hugh McCluggage slowly burning into the season, having 2 goals from a limited 14 touches. But they've just got players everywhere. GWS and North Melbourne's game was full of controversy. The umpiring in this game was shocking. I mean, free kicks, non-paid, some that were paid but that just weren't there. And it really cost North Melbourne in the end. I mean, they fought really hard until the end of the game. But it was just really unfortunate to see some of the calls go against them, and it just led to a few goals for GWS. I mean, the Giants did play well, but I really do think North Melbourne deserved to come away with this. They had a very controversial arc decision against Griffin Logue. Be paid a goal to GWS when cameras showed minutes later that it was actually touched. And it's very frustrating as a footy fan or even a North Melbourne fan to see constant mistakes like that happen in games that were really good, you know? Like, we just hate to see this stuff happen. And for North Melbourne, they continue to surge on and the Giants keep their season alive. But that was ANZAC Round for 2026, and we're going to go through my predictions for the next round. And we've got Hawthorn hosting Collingwood on Thursday night. So I'm going to go with the Hawks to get the win. We've got Fremantle getting the Chockies over the Western Bulldogs. I think the Crows win the showdown. I think Brisbane will get the job done over Essendon. I'm going to go with Richmond to pick up their first win of the year against West Coast. I think they're due for one, and maybe having a few experienced bodies back can really help them with that. The Cats in Geelong should get the job done against North Melbourne. A really tough one to tip between St Kilda and Carlton at Marvel. I've lent more towards the Saints. We've got Sydney at the SCG against Melbourne. That might be a tough game. And then, obviously, we've got the expansion club clash with Gold Coast and GWS. So I'm going to go with Gold Coast to win that game. 6 out of 9 for the week, which isn't too bad. But that's my tips, and thank you for watching.